today, what I intend to cover is basically, there's a few questions that I've been getting all along ever since I started speaking and I started launching my book. First question, every time they ask, Faizul, what do you think of property market today? Last time you start in 2006, can lah, property prices are still cheap those days. Now it's 2013, different era, you old already, can still buy or not? That's question number one. Okay? Question number two that I always make. If today, if you look at the new launches, there are a lot of service apartments or small units are being launched. I made a lot of money by investing in small unit service apartments in the early days. So today, is it still a good time to buy or not? So, yeah? And of course, lastly, because lately, whenever I buy a development, I normally buy multiple units. People ask me, are you not afraid of putting all your eggs in one basket? Okay? So I hope my presentation today or my sharing today will cover all those three questions. And what I normally like to do is that I like to put things into perspective by going back to the fundamentals. Yeah? Why do we invest in the first place? Allow me to share a bit of my story. And this is normally a trivia, but then again, no longer a trivia because most of you, I think, would have read my book, so you know my trade secret already. Okay? How much capital I used to start off when I first invest. Now, when I started investing, I only had 2,000 ringgit cash of my own cash. Yeah? I'm only a normal employee earning 2,500 ringgit a month. I was working for a bank. Okay? I'm not a guy from the property industry. Okay? I don't have insider information. Yeah? I don't have all this. I'm a very normal, average guy who is just trying to make a better life by investing in properties. Yeah? I'm also not a high-flying businessman whereby I can borrow a lot of money or I earn a lot of money. Very normal guy. Yeah? So that's my background. Okay? And how I accumulated the first capital for my property purchase is that I use credit card. Okay? Nowadays it's a bit more difficult to do, but it can still be done. How does it work is that, at that point of time, my best friend wanted to buy a Dell laptop. Okay? He wanted to buy a Dell laptop, but he doesn't have a credit card. So he said, Faizul, can I borrow your credit card to buy the laptop? I said, can I? And then when I wanted to buy a laptop at the Dell website, there is stated there 0% interest, 12 months installment. I said, this one looks very interesting. So I thought I can take the 2005 he was about to pay me, and I take the 0% installment for 12 months. So I keep cash and I pay the bank slowly by savings. So that's what I did until my ex-girlfriend, now upgraded to wife already, wanted to go for holiday. So 13,000 ringgit family holiday. I said, Auntie, I will pay for you, don't worry. My wife is half Chinese by the way. So I took the 30,000, again I used credit card. I used multiple credit cards at that point of time until I got 25,000. Okay? And about me, I don't own a car until I bought my 13th property. Okay? In fact, I wouldn't want to buy a car until my wife at that point of time, she was already 5 months pregnant with our first daughter. Then she said, you need a car now because if I beranak, I cannot be driving. I said, okay. Then I buy a car. Okay. I have bought more than 25 high-rise residentials today. This was a 3 months ago slide. I have bought a bit more since. So now, let me share how to answer the first three questions that I mentioned. Let me share with you my first three purchases and I'll go back to the story. Now, in 2005, I bought a 1,055 square foot apartment in Kelana Puteri Road for 140,000. It's a completed property. It's located next to Paradigm. Tahu the location? Okay. Official valuation was 165, but I did a zero down deal. Ask your banker or your lawyer how to do a zero down deal. Don't ask me today. I don't want to be, question later. And then at the end of the deal, once the property is mine, I get 30,000 cash. Okay? After the property is mine. So that means I'm being paid to buy this property. Today this property collects 260 ringgit in property salary or cash flow per month. Okay? Best part is that today the asking price for this property is 380,000. Okay, bought 140 2006 officially. Now it's 380. Now, second purchase. Remember I got 30,000 cash, right? I used to buy my first studio unit. This one is in Pudu, or I normally like to call it Bukit Bintang. Okay, it's located behind Swiss Garden Hotel. If you know where it is, nearby Pudu side. Okay, it's only a 380 square foot in a place called Kasam Mutiara. So it's actually very nicely done. There's a rooftop swimming pool. There's a lot of facilities on the rooftop. So it's a very different compared to the existing supply in that particular Bukit Bintang and Pudu stretch. So at that point of time when I wanted to buy this, my ex-girlfriend, now wife, asked me, so small this place, who will stay on? You know? But I did my research, and my research tells me that there are no small units, okay, in the whole of Bukit Bintang and Pudu area at that point of time. If there is, the supply is so much lower than the demand. At that point of time, Bukit Selon, the service apartment, they are people, agent told me there are 50 people in the waiting list to rent that place. Yeah, and the rental wasn't cheap. Yeah? One bedroom goes for about 4,000 per month. One bedroom. Okay? And there were only less than 100 units available. So I was thinking, this one Pudu, okay lah, area not as nice as Bukit Silong, but it's still very walkable to Bukit Bintang. Less than 10 minutes walk to Times Square. Less than 10 minutes walk to monorail. So I thought cannot be that bad. Okay? So it was the only new studio supply at that point of time. So I thought, okay lah, hantam saja lah. Plus the property at that point of time, when I was about to buy, it was already 95% completed. Yeah, 95% completed. I went, I have a look at my unit. I quite like what I see, even though it's a bit small. I buy. Okay? And I bought using the first 30,000 capital I got from my Kelana Putri purchase. Yeah? And then, barely 2 weeks after I started my renovation, I started advertising. Okay? Advertising for rent. And I got more than 10 calls. And then there's this one lady who frantically told me, I need an apartment by 4th of Jan at that point of time. I still remember the date. Okay? She's a lady from Yemen. She only wanted to rent for 5 months. Why 5 months? She came here to do English course. She wanted to learn English. Okay? She wanted to learn English. So, I said, okay, 5 months, no problem. Where do you stay now? She said, I stay at Millennium Hotel. It's the hotel next to Pavilion. And she is paying $250 per night in that hotel. So you can tell that she's actually rich now because she has been staying there for 2 weeks. But now she's desperately looking for an apartment because she cannot be paying $250 per night. So she saw my apartment, it was like 70% ready. And she said, okay, I like it, I want to rent it. And this was the first viewing I had. Okay, first viewing. And then she said, but for 5 months how much? I said, for 5 months it will have to be slightly more expensive. I said, no problem, tell me the price. So I think. I said, I want to try my luck. I said, $1,000. Okay? 160,000 per month, I'm asking for $1,000 rental, which works about 3,500 ringgit per month at one time. Okay? That lady, ting. Cheap! Because she is comparing, her hotel and mine, And I was like, yes! $1,000. Wow, patak already. So, I pay to the bank monthly installment 800 ringgit per month. I pay maintenance fee 100 ringgit. My cost is 900. Okay, my cost is 900. If I can rent at 3,005 or 1,000 US dollar, how much will I make? A lot of money, yeah? Equal to my current salary at the point of time. Okay, I was very happy. But then the boyfriend came. So boyfriend has been staying here for 6 months. I say, oh no, this is very expensive. Arab kan? Very expensive. You are charging too much. So negotiate. So we agree at 2,400. Okay, 2,400 minus my 900 ringgit cost, I get 1,500 ringgit per month. Okay, I got 1,500 ringgit per month. And then after her 5 months tenure is over, a Korean company, less than a week after the unit is empty, Korean company calls, say, I want to put my director there because Sri Bukit Salon don't have stock, so only got 1 year. And they were renting it from me for 2,800, yeah, for 1 year, 2008 for a studio, okay. Today this property is valued at 330,000 from 160 bought in 2006. Okay, what's the moral of the story here? First, must always look at supply and demand. If your place have a lot of 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom apartments and all big size unit, you go the opposite. You go and buy a small unit, right? And if your place, for example, only have small units, then you do the opposite, you buy the larger size unit. Yeah, always look at the supply and demand. Buy something that is different compared to what the market existingly offers. Because most of the time, if you buy something which is like that, have that characteristic that people cannot find in any other development, people would be willing to pay a premium rental, and this has proven to be the case. Yeah? Okay. Third purchase, and my final purchase story. After I bought the studio in Kasar Mutiara, I very high already. Because studio, can make a lot of money. Okay, so I quickly want to look for another studio unit in Kasar Mutiara. But 6 months down the road, the price has gone up from 160 to now become 250,000. Over 6 months, already gone up by 50%. Too expensive already, cannot buy. There's a development for May Tower recently completed, and it was still affordable at 180. Okay, bought it. It was a sub-sale. Negotiated with the owner, 6,000 down payment. He agreed because I told him at the point of time, "Bang, I want to buy your property, but I got no money." Yeah lah, I come with slipper, motorbike, seluar pendek. Memang doesn't look like have money. Memang no money pun lah. Yeah. So the abang ting, said, "Okay lah, want to help you out." Then 6,000 ringgit down payment. The property was rented at 1,800. My first tenant, student, local student by the way. She's from Sarawak, and then she's very beautiful. Don't know lah. Seems to have a lot of beautiful tenants. Very lucky. And then she rented for 2 years tenancy for 1,008. I thought I can make more money renting short term, but because it's a long term tenancy, I thought, okay, no problem. So I collect about 1,000 ringgit additional cash flow per month. The current property price today is about 310 to 230,000. Okay, now I know you have read the book, most of you, but why am I telling this story again before we can? The numbers will tell you that what I bought, okay, a couple of years ago, without knowing, today is worth quite a fair bit. Kelana Putri is worth 380, Kasar Mutiara is worth 330, May Tower is 310. These are all the lowest asking price I can find out over the internet in the last 2 months. If you combine all together, it's over 1 million over the portfolio. And how much own money that I used initially? 2,000. Yeah? Now, going back to the question, is now the right time to buy or not? Okay? When things are supposedly so expensive today, is the most expensive today, is it still a good time to buy? Now, to answer those questions, when I started, I have no idea what the property market is going to be like. I don't have a crystal ball that tells me, Faizal, in 2013, property market will be this much, that's why you have to buy now. No. Right? My logic is very simple. I buy something, I pay rent 500 ringgit, I can rent for 600 ringgit, I buy. Because the property puts money in my pocket. Number one. Number two, I buy property which is relatively cheap. Okay? Pudu, 160,000. Pudu lah. But still 160,000 only. So a lot of people can afford to rent this. Yeah? Compared to the new offerings in KLCC at that point of time, 2 million. So 160,000 is nothing. Yeah? So, as long as the plan in properties to invest long term, I would say you are going to be safe. Like I said, when I started, my Casa Mutiara is the most expensive per square foot price in the whole of Pudu. There's a developer next door going for half the price per square foot. Recently completed as well. It's called Seri Emas. Yeah, it's next to Casa Mutiara. But Seri Emas was large size unit and it looks very low cost for an apartment. Okay? So I went, if you have read my book, you know I'm very cheap lah. I like to buy things cheap. But in this instance, instead of buying the cheap property next door, which is very similar to a dollar supply, I went and do the opposite. I went for something different. Small unit, but very good facilities. Yeah? Small unit, but very good facilities, because I think there will be a market for this. And fair enough, has proven to be the point. And if you are buying in anticipation of renting the property out for positive cash flow, you will never be worried about what the price is going to be like in the next 2-3 years. I am still aggressively buying this year, despite property prices expensive. It's the same. Anything that I bought, when I bought it, it was the most expensive. It was the most expensive. When I bought the Zest by Trinity in Kinara, it was the most expensive property per square foot in Kinara. And I still made good money. Yeah? When I bought some service apartment in PJ, it was by far the most expensive property in PJ per square foot. But because you buy something different, you play the contrarian play, you make money. Yeah? So, since we are talking today about Ziva, right? And it's a service apartment with Jasco right across the street. So I would like to share some of my previous purchases that has either a mall downstairs or right opposite. Okay. First one is that I bought Zest at Bandar Kinara 9. Okay. I bought in 2009 for 236,000. Okay. It was the most expensive per square foot property in Bandar Kinara at that point of time when I bought it. Okay. When I bought it, it was the most expensive. Now, after 36 months, I sold it for a clean 230,000 profit upon completion. And come to think of it, I think I sold a bit too early because the price has gone up to above $500,000 today. Yeah? Who knows what the asking price today for the property?
600.
Not yet. Not yet. LRT come later, possible. Yeah? So I bought this, it was the most expensive, yet still make money. Reason is because it's something new. Market always prefer something new. If they have the option to rent, pay 1,000 for the old property and 1,500 for a new property, normally people don't mind spending a bit more to go for the new one. Yeah? Now, this is Axis Ampang in Pandan. Okay? I bought 3 Soho units in 2010 and 2011. Okay? Staggered lah. 2 units first and then 2 units later. I bought 3 Soho units and 2 bedroom units at average price of 350 per square foot. Okay, it was the most expensive property at Pandan at that point of time. Okay, because it's Pandan, everything else is below 200 per square foot. So I paid more than 70% premium for this. But what happened is that there is a mall downstairs, there's Carrefour. People find it very convenient. Okay, people find it very convenient. So because of that, people are willing to pay a lot of money for the rental. Yeah, my Soho units I bought for 160,000 average. I'm collecting 1,800 ringgit rental per month. This is 2010, 2011, not too long ago. Yeah, current asking price today, because of the rental, okay, is 300 to 350,000 for the Soho units. Same for the 2-bedroom unit. If your property is rentable, gets good cash flow, you can be rest assured that capital appreciation will follow. Yeah? It doesn't make sense. Nobody will sell you a property today in the subsale market with 10% rental in. Would you sell? I don't think so. You will not. You will sell it at 6%, 5% maybe, but not at 10%. If you are getting 10% rental yield today, be rest assured that the property price will go up to match 6 to 7% average interest. Yeah? Why do I like service apartment with retail component? Very simply, you can make a lot of money. I mean, that's the reason why we all invest, right? We all invest to make money, right? Yeah? Let me just give you a trivia here. All these properties today, can you tell me what is the most expensive completed per square foot property in Bukit Bintang, in Subang, in Petaling Jaya, in Cyberjaya, and Puchong? Who can tell me? I got gift for you. No one? Got hadiah one? Huh? Huh? Cyberjaya apa? Okay. Bukit Bintang. Any guess? Pavilion Residence. What does Pavilion Residence have below? Pavilion Mall. What about Subang? This one should be easy. Empire Subang. What does Empire Subang Soho unit have below? The Empire Mall. What about PJ? What about PJ? Any guess? PJ? Huh? Sorry? What is that? Sita. Sita don't have residential on top, right? Huh? High rise. Cheetah residence. How much is it per square foot? Is it more expensive than Tropics at Tropicana Mall, which is 850 to 900 per square foot today in PJ? In Subang, Empire Subang is 700 to 800 per square foot. In Bukit Bintang, Pavilion Residence is above 1,500. My second favorite is Berjaya Town Square, a very old apartment, going for 1,002 per square foot today. What about Cyberjaya? Shahuri. What does Shahuri have? You know? Retail. Lastly, Puchong. This one easy. Setia. Okay. So what does this tell you? If you look at the most expensive properties in these 5 areas, what does it tell you today? You need to put your money on places that has malls below or nearby. Well, I think that's what I'm doing now. Yeah? Now, my last point. Why do I like buying multiple units in the single development. Because when I first started, right, I buy 1 unit London Putri, I buy 1 unit Kasang Mutiara, I buy 3 units in May Tower. You know, the Kasang Mutiara experience made me realize if you are very confident about the prospect of the property, you shouldn't buy one. Because my Kasang Mutiara, I bought one, 6 months later, price shot up by 50%. Want to buy, also cannot buy again. So that taught me a lesson. If you are confident, if you think the rental can make it, buy a lot. So ever since, when I buy very big. The ZEST, I only bought 1 unit because I was a bit unfamiliar about the location. Okay? A bit unfamiliar about the location. Despite doing all my analysis, I was still very much unconvinced about the rental prospect in Kinara at that point of time. That's why I only take 1 unit. Today, regret. Okay? May Tower, I got 3 units. Axis Ampang, I got 4 units. Palazzo in Johor, I got 2 units. And then there's a few more developments where I buy multiple units. Reason is because one thing, as a property owner, imagine I buy 1 Subang, 1 Shah Alam, 1 Puchong, 1 Kelang, 1 here, 1 there, 1 here. Mati lah, what to collect rental, no? You know, if any problem, my plumber have to go here, there, here, there, here, there, here, there. It's going to be very expensive. And then of course, one is the time issue lah. Okay? As your property portfolio grows bigger, time is very valuable. You also need to spend your time on weekends with family, not to go fix toilet for your tenant. Okay? I do not want to fix toilet my tenant. I do not want my tenant to call me in the middle of the night and say, hey, my lampu not working, can you do something about it? You know? So time to me is very important. If I buy multiple units, normally there will be some guy or maintenance guy that I can use inside that particular development, and because they know I have multiple units, it's normally cheaper in bulk. When I service my aircon in May Tower or Axis Ampang, I tell my aircon guy, you service all 3 units in one shot. Can you give me half the price? To him, he travels one day, he do 1 unit or he does 3 units, it takes him about the same time. He might as well do 3 units, give me a bit more discount. So cheaper for me. And this one I realized only lately. If I buy units, I say 3 units are all next to each other. If I want to rent out, when I rent Unify, I only need to buy 1. For 3 units, I only need to buy 1. Cheaper. Because if you run your unit full suite to, for example, especially working adults, they would appreciate the fact that you have internet. All these are differentiating factors that can give you better rental. Yeah? Astro, if you know the trick, also you can also do the same. I'm not going to teach you, so don't ask me. And then leverage factor. Leverage is basically getting loans, borrowing. The reason why I also buy multiple unit single development is because if you submit 1 loan for 1 development and property price is not the same, it's very difficult to get 2 or 3 loans approved together. But if you buy almost similar price, submit together, normally approval is okay, I would say. I don't teach you one, don't say you come from me. And then of course, better utilization of resources or shared resources, like I was saying. You know, aircon, you sell 3 units versus 1 unit, the price you're going to get is cheaper. Unify, all units next to each other, buy 1 Unify, 3 units can use. So cheap. And the tenant will still have to pay the full 150 ringgit additional for Unify. Right? But you only pay 1 time for you. So, jimat already. And then more importantly, because of my experiences with say Kasang Mutiara and the ZEST, and then Tropics in PJ, every time I buy 1 single unit, the moment I sell it, every time I look back at the pricing, I sakit hati. But the price continue to go up because you did your research, you think it's a good property, but you only buy 1. So you only buy 1, when you sell, that's about it. No more, right? So for me, if I buy multiple units, 2 or 3 units, I can sell 1 and keep the other 2. while waiting for the next price jump to go up. Yeah? And then lastly, I believe diversification is for people who are not sure of what they are doing. Like I said, if you have done your research and if you are very confident about buying one, to me no difference between buying 2 or 3 in a single development, because you're already putting your money in a single development, you might as well go big. Yep. So that will be all that I have to share today.